Welcome!
We are going to talk about where the sidewalk ends. I'm Casey.
I'm Ainsley.
I'm Isabella.
We are working on our Bronze Award as Girl Scout Troop 62842.
What happens when you're walking and the sidewalk ends? You either have to walk on someone's lawn or in the street. First, walking on someone's lawn is disrespectful to their property and could ruin it. Second, walking in the street is dangerous. Why is it dangerous when you have to walk in the street?
It is dangerous to walk in the street because cars might hit you. If a car is going by fast, they might not see you and can hit you when you are forced to walk in the street.
It is also dangerous to walk in the street because bikers could hit you.
People that don't have cars or bikes can walk, but with no sidewalks, it is dangerous.
There are multiple places in Wakefield where there are no sidewalks. Some of these places are
on Elm Street from Edwards Ave to Parker Road. This is especially dangerous as this is a busy road which cars tend to drive fast on. There's nowhere to walk except in the street when the sidewalk ends.
Also on Eustis Ave from 53 Eustis until Parker Road. This is especially dangerous because this is a street that many people park on to walk their kids to the Walton School.
Some more places are on Parker Road between Griffin Drive and Brook Street, and on Brook Street between Ash Street and Redfield Road.
Another place is from Cedar Street between Auburn and Chestnut.
And on Melvin Street. This is a busy road and it's a route to the Galvin Middle School.
It is important to have sidewalks so people can walk places safely.
We care a lot about the safety of people in our community.
We want to have sidewalks everywhere so everyone can get to the places they need to go.
Please make sidewalks everywhere.
So say yes to sidewalks!
Now we are going to talk to the Town Administrator, Mr. Steve Maio.
Thank you. Thank you, Ainsley, Isabella, and Casey. I'm thrilled to be here to talk about, I guess it's sidewalks today, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Great. I'm here to answer any questions and to do whatever you guys want. So,
I have a question. What are your thoughts on the sidewalk issue? Do you agree with us for this problem?
I do agree with you, and it's something that unfortunately we haven't had a lot of money over the years to put into sidewalks, but that's certainly changing a little bit right now. And I certainly agree. There's many places in town where we need sidewalks, and there's many places where all of a sudden the sidewalk ends. And you guys say, well, why does the sidewalk end there? So I do agree with you 100%.
And have you ever been walking and came to a place where there is no sidewalk?
Happens to me every day. I like to walk when I can walk. Every day when I can walk out of my house, I have a sidewalk. I take a right onto Vernon Street, take a right onto Cordes Street, and then all of a sudden there's no sidewalk. And there hasn't been a sidewalk there for over 50 years, I think. And then all of a sudden the sidewalk starts again.
Oh.
So at some point, someone decided 50 years ago not to do a sidewalk there. So what we're doing right now, so this is really very appropriate, which is a really good time for you young ladies to be talking about this, is that we are doing a town-wide study to look at where we need sidewalks and where sidewalks, maybe we have some sidewalks that aren't easily accessible. So maybe if you need a little help walking, a little help moving around, you really can't get over those sidewalks. So part of our capital plan this year, and what a capital plan is, it's you spend money on some big objects, right? Like, you have your allowance, right? And maybe you buy some candy, you'll buy a soda. Don't tell your mothers, right? You can't tell them that. But maybe you're saving up a little bit of that money so you can buy a new skateboard or a new pogo stick or whatever, right? So capital plan is kind of like that in the town. We've been kind of figuring out what we can do to save some money so we can do some bigger things like sidewalks. But first we have to have a plan. So what this plan will do, it will look all over town, we'll look at the sidewalks, and then we'll be able to not only know what we need to do, but we'll also be able to get some grants, get some funds from other locations like the state or the federal government. And I'll tell you, the first thing we'll look at is probably what you might talk about, is the schools, right?
Yeah.
So people can have access to the schools better, or access to businesses better, or access to the train station better. So those, we talk about these, call it connectivity, trying to connect these neighborhoods and connect these sections. So that's what we'll be looking at.
Is it possible to put sidewalks all over Wakefield?
It is possible, but I think that what you have to, what we also look at is that there are some places where actually private people own the land there, so we would either need their permission or just decide we're going to put a sidewalk there. But it is possible to put them everywhere, and I can think of some main streets that, are a little dangerous maybe, that we should look at sidewalks more. There might be some areas where, because of, the slope of the land, that maybe there might not be a sidewalk there. You can think of some places where all of a sudden, the earth comes down like this and goes to the street. That might be a little tough, but we can certainly look at almost anything.
And who decides where to put the sidewalks?
You know what the greatest thing about that is? That we'll come up with a plan and we'll present it to the town for approval at town meeting. But in the interim, if we just get, shouldn't say just get, we have $100,000, a lot of money, right? Huge. We'd all love to have that, to put in the sidewalks. We'll look at the places that are either the most dangerous or that are making those connections between the schools, businesses, train station, things like that.
Yeah.
But we want suggestions. I don't know them all, so I'd love to hear what you have to say about that too. And the survey will show us kind of the areas.
How do you get a sidewalk added to a street?
The first thing you should do is always put these things in writing, okay? So send a letter or an email into my office, and then that's the best way to start the process, okay? That letter has a lot more weight, okay? If it's maybe have the whole street sign about it, or maybe it's, what's your troop?
Troop 62842.
Yeah.
62842?
Yeah.
Wow, 62842. Maybe if all of Troop 62842 signs it, it has a little more oomph, right? A little more people are involved. That's a great way to do it.
If the sidewalks can happen, where would the money come from?
Well, some of it would come from the taxpayers. I'm sure that you've heard your folks talk about taxes, how they hate to pay taxes. Everybody hates to pay taxes, but they love what they get from their taxes, right? Yeah. So some would come from taxes, but some we will try to get from either the federal government, and I guess that comes from taxes too, or the state government to supplement our own town funds. So part of doing this plan I talked about is to identify places, and then be able to go out and apply through programs. And the state has this Safe Streets program where we're going to do some sidewalks. And a good example of that is on Greenwood Street in Greenwood, right where Greenwood and Main and Oak all meet. You notice there's a sidewalk going towards the trains tracks and station, and it wasn't a sidewalk there before, right? People parked their cars there, which should have been a sidewalk. So we actually got some state funds, and that's making that connection. So there's an area where we're adding a sidewalk, and that's coming through the state.
And if it is not possible to put sidewalks in all places, might the town consider putting caution signs up indicated like no sidewalk or drive slowly?
Absolutely, and that is the same process. We'd like you to send us an email or a letter or what have you, and to say, hey, Elm Street, for instance, comes to mark. There's some areas of Elm Street that maybe the topography doesn't do. So the issue with signs is that they need to kind of meet certain standards, traffic standards. So we would look for that as well. But yes, absolutely.
Cool. And that's pretty much it, I guess.
So thank you for answering our questions.
You're welcome. I hope that you feel free to call anytime you have any questions, or send an email, or do whatever you need to do. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.